And then while it's still wet, I'm going straight in to the mixture of translucent grey with a hint of rose madder. You don't need to wash your brush out between the blue and the grey. They're going to merge together on the paper anyway. And I'm just laying this in with the side of the brush again to give sort of curved, slightly cloud-like shapes across the paper. Now these shapes should get a little bit smaller as we get nearer to the horizon, so that the clouds near the horizon look further away. That gives us this feeling of distance, what we call aerial perspective. And in fact, the clouds I'm putting in towards the bottom are just with the very tip of the brush to make smaller marks. So for the reflections, I've got the same red mixture again of vermilion and burnt sienna, leaving a tiny little line to suggest a few ripples around the base of the boat. And the reflection has to be a very similar shape to the boat itself, but a bit more broken up, to suggest a few ripples and a slight disturbance on the water. I've just broken that reflection up. And then I've got the shadowy mixture again, which was the same red but with a bit of cobalt blue added. And so that it looks like the reflection is of the shadow as well as the illuminated side of the boat. I'm dropping that in there. And now I want a rich dark brown for the mast, some burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Still working with the fine detailer brush. I've now got a plastic ruler and I'm putting this against the picture with my fingers under one side of it to raise it off the paper. If you're using a ruler like this, you need to make sure that the ferrule of the brush touches the ruler rather than the hairs. And I'm just making a very fine line for a mast. And then that would be reflected in the water, but again, just like the reflection of the boat itself, it's more broken. You can leave a few gaps just to suggest that the shape of the reflection is influenced by the slightly disturbed surface of the water. Just to finish that off, I've got a bit more of the shadow boat colour, and we'll put a little line or two from it just to settle it in the water so it looks like it's lying flat. Okay, that's completed. I'm going to be tentative at first. I'm going to touch the brush to the paper and see what happens. If it spreads too quickly, it means I need to wait a moment. If it just softens nicely into the background like that, I think the timing is about right now. Soft, almost spidery look to the foliage at the ends of the branches there by letting the paint soften into the background. This is why your dark green has to be quite thick or it will just run away like mad, and when it dries it will be too pale. In general, these shapes for the branches get a little bit wider and a bit bigger towards the base of the tree. Very important that your brush has a good fine point to it. Using the very tip of the brush at the top, a bit more strength into that dark green lower down, I think.